Hello and welcome. Welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda. If you're new here, I am a mother of two. I have a 4.5-year-old named Maggie and an almost 2-year-old named William. And welcome to our very first week of homeschool. We are starting the Wondergarten curriculum and we are starting right off the bat in week 1 with Bread Week. And I'm so beyond excited to be doing this curriculum this year. And I thought I would just film a week in the life of school for my own memories and for anyone else who's interested in this curriculum. Wondergarten is based on Waldorf, and I think it also definitely has some Montessori leanings as well as a focus on nature, which is just right up my alley. The week is laid out in 3 different sections, and it starts with a morning activity, followed by circle time, and then your main activity of the day. And on our first day for Bread Week, the morning activity was to make cinnamon clove Play-Doh. So we started with that as our first thing. We are doing Wondergarten preschool for Maggie, who is 4.5, like I said, but everything is pretty much able to be done as a family. So William, who is 21 months, is able to help with a lot of this stuff, which I really love. And also Wondergarten is up to age 7, so you just kind of do it year after year and add more academia as you go, because there are not really academics built into it. So for example, when Maggie shows interest in learning to read, I could pull out Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons and do that lesson book alongside Wondergarten. After the Play-Doh kind of ran its course, we had a proper breakfast, which was not until about 10 o'clock, but I believe Maggie had had a snack earlier in the morning, and then I just made some more protein-filled breakfast before we started circle time. And I didn't get a lot of footage of circle time on this day because it was my first time doing it and I really needed to concentrate on what we were doing. But after circle time, we got sidetracked going upstairs and Maggie asked me to read her some fall theme books that I had laid out. So I think we read Leaf Man and Squirrel's Family Tree. And then we went outside for some outdoor time and played Sneaky Snacky Squirrel, which the kids have been loving. And it was a perfect thing for that day as far as theming goes. And after that, we didn't stay outside very long, so we decided to go up and put William to bed for his nap. And then Maggie and I jumped right into Tea Time Tuesday, which is one of our favorite things we've been doing for a few months now. On Tuesdays, we intentionally sit down, make a cup of tea, have a snack, have a pastry, and we read together. So it's sometimes a chapter book, like a very young kids chapter book, or just some books that we have picked out. And she usually watches a TV show or two while I'm putting William to bed. So I try to turn that off when I come back down and have something exciting to entice her away from the TV. So we've been loving doing Tea Time Tuesday, and it's just a really nice time for her and I to connect and just spend some time one-on-one like that. We finished our first official day of school with drum circle, and this was awesome. This is actually a free thing at our library. And we were the only ones there that day, so it ended up being a private music lesson. Maggie got to play drums and guitar, and William just wanted to watch at first, but eventually he did get into it as well. And he strummed the guitar, and he was playing the drums too. And this was definitely one of the highlights of the week for us. The next morning, I took the kids and I to a butterfly appreciation event. And this was really cool. It was not exactly what I was expecting. It was more geared toward adults, I think. There was a handful of kids, but the talking portion did not really capture their interest. But thankfully we stuck around because afterwards they invited us into the garden. And I didn't even know this place existed. It's actually really close to us. There's chickens, there's butterflies everywhere, there's all kinds of different plants. They also have plants for sale. And they welcome the public on 2 days a week. So we will absolutely be going back to this location. And again, I didn't even know it existed all this time. I could have been going here. But it's always so cool to discover new things. And Maggie had a great time chatting with some of the master gardeners about butterfly chrysalises and all kinds of things. So we will absolutely be adding this to our regular rotation. When we got home, we wanted to keep the topic of seeds going. So we read Seeds Move and A Fruit is a Suitcase for Seeds, which are some of our favorite books, especially A Fruit is a Suitcase for Seeds. We just love that one. So we read a couple books and I honestly started to feel pretty sick at this point. So my energy was low and the kids just really spent the rest of the day playing together. The next morning, we started out with some impromptu music class, and we were just playing instruments and listening to Rafi. And then we headed downstairs, and I swapped out these daily flags I made. This was like a 5-minute craft, but in the Wondergarten book, they have colors of the day, and that just helps the kids visualize what day it is because it can be such a hard concept to grasp when they're really small. So the color of the day was orange, so we put out our orange flag. And then I started setting up the morning activity, which was beeswax crayons, which I did buy real Stockmar beeswax crayons for Wondergarten. So I have those kept up special because they're pretty expensive. But I just laid out the block crayons for the kids to experiment with because we've definitely never used block crayons before. And it was their first time doing that. So that's what their morning activity was for painting day, which is normally day 3 of the week, but we switched it to day 2 of the week. While they were coloring, I read a poem from Sing a Song of Seasons, which is a nature poem for each day of the year. And I think I also read a couple other books as well. And Maggie truthfully was not into the coloring, so she requested to bring out the Play-Doh, which is totally fine because it was already made and ready to go. So she decided to switch to Play-Doh instead. After this warm-up activity, we went upstairs and did circle time this time, and I like doing it a lot better upstairs. I hung up our silk from Sarah Silks, which depicts the autumn image for Wondergarten, and then we had our little speaker, so we had the songs playing. We did our good morning song, which Maggie wanted to act out. She said she wanted to do ballet, which I thought was so sweet. So we do our good morning song, we do some movement songs, some hand motion games, and then we read our story of the week, which at this point we've already read it 3 times, and it's fine to do repetition because it really lets the story sink in. And poor William, he did not want to do circle time with us, but then once we started doing the movements and stomping our feet and clapping our hands, he starts smiling and he really got into it. And he loves the stories as well, and I created little peg doll characters and some props to go with the stories, and it just really helps with the memory and getting the kids involved as well. And I think that's what circle time is really all about, is moving your body. So I love having the props and the characters to go with it. After circle time, William took his nap, and when he woke back up, we went to a local park and we stopped inside the visitor center and got to see these diamondback terrapins and talk to one of the guys that worked there for a while. That was really cool. And then we just went on a little nature hike because if you don't already know, we are trying to do 1,000 hours outside this year. And the past couple of months over the summer, I've been really struggling getting outside. And I just knew we needed to try to get out for a walk. And Maggie requested this park, which I really appreciated because it's somewhere we haven't been in a while. So we went on a little walk, saw the water. She got to see some cool plants that were growing in the water, which she was very fascinated by. And I just love taking these guys on walks. It's really important to me. This was a really nice evening out, and then we saw the best thing ever, which was a real raccoon. I just thought he was the cutest thing ever. He was like washing his hands and then ran away. Say what you will about raccoons, but I just thought it was the cutest thing ever. So that was a real nice treat. Back at home, I got the kids set up with the actual main activity of the day for painting day, which is watercolor. And you're supposed to only do red on the first day and introduce more colors as you go. But I don't have just red, so of course the kids wanted to use all the colors. But I got some higher quality watercolor paper that can actually be soaked so that we could do wet on wet watercolor, and it was pretty cool. Again, Maggie wasn't really into it on this day, which she normally loves painting, but she just wasn't really into it today. So we did try it, and then we had dinner, and that was pretty much it for day 3. Our last day of the week, we started very slow with some books all about butterflies and also about thunder, and I really enjoy this book by Julie Andrews. So I started with a poem for September, and then we just read a couple books. At this point, I knew that I had COVID. I tested positive, so I was feeling pretty bad and also dealing with a weird stiff neck. This was like 2 weeks of stiff neck, so I was not having a great week personally, but I still wanted to make the most of it as much as I could with feeling sick, but also not giving up on our school week. So after we read some books, Maggie helped me prepare the table, and we pulled out one of the lessons that was from day 1 of Wondergarten, which was about setting the table. And I love Wondergarten because it incorporates life lessons and skills So our life lesson of the week was setting the table. So Maggie worked on folding her napkin, getting out the dishes, and we had soup for lunch. And then we moved on to our main activity of the week, which was making bread, because it is bread week, which is the first week of the month. So even though I was moving slow, we did end up making bread after all. What I find so special about the Wondergarten curriculum is that the husband and wife team have written all of the music themselves. They have written the stories themselves, created the characters for the stories. Everything corresponds so well. The story of the week is about the characters and eating bread. And then they wrote the recipe for the bread, and everything just corresponds so beautifully. The book is just so organized and well written, and it's full of whimsy and wonder and beauty. And it is technically not Christian, although the couple themselves are Christian. And I know in Apple Week even the story was quoting scripture, but anyone can do it. You don't have to have any religious anything in it if you don't want to. It can just be for a secular family. It can be for your own religion if you want it to be. And it's mostly just about celebrating childhood, keeping childhood full of wonder, full of excitement, not bogging them down with academics and things that are not age appropriate for them. And I just love it so much. I am just getting started, but like I said, the community is so wonderful. The app is beautiful. They're putting out podcasts with the stories for free, and they're so well edited with music and sound effects and everything. The couple that created Wondergarten is so hands-on. They are answering all the comments. They are all over the app. They're just like, I don't know how they sleep or when they sleep. And they also have 4 kids that they're homeschooling themselves. So I don't know how they do it, but I'm so incredibly thankful to have found this at this time in my life, because I feel like it fits me, like the way that I want to raise my kids and the way that I want to live my life. It just fits me so well. And I'm just so glad to have the opportunity to teach my kids like this, and to have this curriculum that is so well done and just so beautiful that I just can't wait to do it. And Maggie asks to do it every day, and yeah, I just can't say enough good things about it. Bread making was a several hours long process, and it turned out really well. It was slightly sweet and warm and delicious on this very, very rainy and dark afternoon. We also made some whipped honey butter with some local lavender honey, and that was really good on it as well. But it was honestly a really good start to our homeschool journey. I just am super thankful for this, and even though I was feeling sick and still am recovering, we still had a really good week, and the kids have been playing together so well, which is another huge plus. And I just can't wait for week 2, which is going to be Apple Week. So again, this has just been such a wonderful thing, and I really cannot recommend Wondergarten enough. I actually do have an affiliate code, which if you do buy anything from them, including they have a shop full of products that you can use at home, like art supplies and stuff, you can use my code and save 10%, and I'll also get a little bit of kickback from that, which I would never suggest buying something unless I really believed in it. And I did not get to be a part of the affiliate program until after I bought the curriculum. So just putting that out there. If you do decide to buy something from them, you can use my code AmandaJanaeFrank at checkout. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed coming along on our first week of school, and let me know what you thought, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!